Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at noon starts now.
As Russian bombs continue to pummel his country, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky pleads for more measures to help stop the war in a rare virtual address to U.S. Congress. But we want to begin here with breaking news at noon here at home. All lanes of US 23 and old US 23 are shut down now due to a gas explosion just north of Center Road in Livingston County. That's where we find our Megan Woods, who joins us now there live. And Megan, what are you learning?
Well, we're here now, like you mentioned, and you can see there are fire, Consumers Energy are on scene right now. And like you mentioned, US 23, old US 23 are closed. You can take a look over here and see how far those backups go. Now, take a look at this video we were able to get earlier. Tyrone Hills Golf Club said it happened around 9:20 this morning. You can see in this video the burst of smoke above the trees. They say there were two explosions back to back, and the windows and ground at the golf club shook. Consumers Energy isn't calling this an explosion, but says there was a potential line break and it made a really loud noise. They're still, again, on scene investigating what happened. We'll have more on that later on tonight, as well as you'll hear from people about what they experienced earlier this morning when that so-called explosion happened. Live in Fenton, I'm Megan Woods, Local 4.
All righty, Megan, thank you for the update there. Right now, we're waiting on President Biden to deliver remarks on the war in Ukraine. The remarks coming ahead of his trip to Brussels next Thursday, where he plans to meet with NATO allies. Now, they're expected to talk about bolstering support for Ukraine. But here's the latest on the war there. Kyiv officials say that Russian forces shelled an apartment block this morning. This all comes as the city is under curfew during what officials are calling a dangerous moment. Meanwhile, the U.S. Embassy in Ukraine says Russian forces shot and killed 10 people who were standing in line for bread in the northern city of Chernihiv. And Russian troops are still holding 400 people, including doctors and patients, hostage inside a hospital in Mariupol. The Ukrainian president now says that the peace talks with Russia are beginning to sound more realistic. But in the meantime, he addressed Congress today in the hope of securing more Western support for his country. Here's Bree Jackson with more.
Peace in your country.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky describing destruction and heartbreak to U.S. lawmakers.
Russia has turned the Ukrainian sky into a source of death.
Making an emotional appeal for a no-fly zone and more military assistance to help fight back against Russia.
I have a need. I need to protect our sky. I need your decision, your help.
Zelensky speaking directly to President Biden, putting pressure on the administration to do more.
Being the leader of the world means to be the leader of peace.
This as attacks continue and the number of civilian casualties rise. The Biden administration is considering providing Ukraine with killer drones, equipped with missiles that could target Russian tanks and artillery from miles away. President Biden will travel to Brussels for a NATO meeting next week. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin is already there meeting with allies ahead of the president's visit.
I think our presence here sends a signal to the world that we remain united in our support of Ukraine.
World leaders uniting in their opposition to Russian aggression. In Washington, Bree Jackson for NBC News.
All right, Bree, thank you. Meanwhile, as the war rages on, refugees continue to flee the fighting. Jay Gray has that part of our story from the Polish-Ukrainian border.
Hey there, want to give you a real-time look at what's happening right now along the Poland-Ukraine border. We're in Przemyśl train station where a lot of people pass through on their way to other cities, perhaps other countries. And what we're seeing today is a bit different. You can actually see the floor in this station. For so many days it's been jam-packed. You couldn't move here. Don't get me wrong. There are still families rushing through this station and trying to get to safety. They're just coming in waves now. They're moving in waves, coming through. They'll get off one train or a bus and move through and head to another train or a bus. We do have trains that are still coming in from Ukraine and saw one today from the coastal area, Odessa, and a bit later today one will arrive from Kyiv and bringing people from that war-torn capital city. Look, we always knew that this situation was going to happen in waves. We knew that we were going to see a first wave of refugees come through, and that's more than 3 million to this point, and then a second wave of those who waited a little longer to make that trip. Well, now it's more difficult to make that trip, especially from the east down into this area just across the border to the west. You've got cities that have been disrupted by violence, obviously destroyed, some of them. You've got displaced residents, millions who are looking for a place to go, a place to stay. They're surely coming this way, but the roadways have been bombed out. There are Russian checkpoints and towns and villages that are occupied by Russian forces now, and so just getting here is going to be an issue. But when they do, the UN says that this second wave could be bigger than the first, so more than 3 million could still be on their way. That's the latest right now from here along the Poland-Ukraine border. I'm Jay Gray. Back to you.
Our thanks to Jay there. Be sure to stick with us here at Local 4 and click on Detroit.com for continuing coverage of the war in Ukraine as new information comes into our newsroom. Right now, we want to get to breaking news from Japan, where a 7.3 magnitude earthquake has happened off the coast of Fukushima. Officials say the quake hit 36 miles below the sea around 11:30 our time. A tsunami advisory is in effect. There are no immediate reports of casualties or damage. And now to some new information this afternoon after 2 people are found dead inside of a home in Detroit. And as Local 4's Sean Lay reports, authorities believe their deaths were caused by carbon monoxide poisoning.
Well, here's the latest. A loved one got a very bad feeling when they hadn't heard from their family member in more than 24 hours. We're talking about no phone calls being answered, no text messages being responded to. That loved one then came to this home on Algonquin early this morning, making a terrible discovery. 2 bodies were found in bed, a man and a woman, both deceased. Now, in the kitchen, a generator was discovered, and that generator was not running.
Come to find out, it was carbon monoxide poisoning. There was a generator in the home. The generator wasn't running. We're going to assume the generator was running and ran out of gas.
The belief is the generator was being used to heat the home. All this, according to Detroit Fire, still under investigation. If the home was indeed without heat and electricity, Detroit Fire also urging anyone that's using a generator to make sure, of course, that that generator is being used outside. They say you can quickly be overcome by the fumes of carbon monoxide. On Detroit's east side, Sean Lay, Local 4.
All right, Sean, thank you. New this afternoon, we're getting an update from Governor Whitmer on the I-375 improvement project. The governor and Mayor Mike Duggan and city leaders held a roundtable discussion earlier this morning with residents and business owners in the area. It was last November that the governor made a request to President Biden for funding to convert I-375 to a 6-lane boulevard at street level. Governor Whitmer says the goal is to provide easier access between adjacent areas in the city.
We're really fortunate to have, the city leadership, state leadership, and federal leadership all on the same page on this and recognizing the importance of remedying this long, painful history and that we see every single day here, and we got a real opportunity in front of us.
The early design for the 375 improvement project selected alternative will begin this spring. And speaking of spring, let's turn our attention now to today's spring-like forecast as we give you a live look outside. Wow, what a beautiful shot there, Brandon. It almost looks, well, like the sun is out.
The haze is still out there a little bit with the sun bursting through, but as soon as that fog started to lift, temps really took off, and it hasn't really happened yet as you head into Macomb and St. Clair counties where the fog was thickest, but everybody else 45 to 50 degrees or warmer, 52 in Lapeer. We do have a wave of cloud cover coming over us, but not going to be the rule for the day. It is going to become a little brighter as we head through the rest of the day. We're looking at middle 50s by 2 p.m. and a high near 60 degrees. Evrod?
All righty, Brandon, thank you. Well, after a long lockout, baseball is back, and that means the Tigers are back to work in Lakeland. And that's where we find our Jamie Edmonds with more on spring training.
Day 3 of on-field workouts here in Tiger Town. A shortened spring training means every practice counts. The media is back to in-person interviews, and fans are back to seeing their favorite players live and up close.
How excited are you that baseball's back? I'm pretty pumped.
Oh, I'm very excited.
I just miss my teammates. I miss my coaching staff. I miss the interaction of being around all the guys every day and, more importantly, playing baseball.
As the lockout kept going, I didn't think they were ever going to get an agreement. So they did. It's fantastic. It's great to have a summer sport back. It's a lot better than basketball, and that's why we enjoy it so much.
A.J. Hinch has said he not only expects to compete this year, but he wants to win. To him, spring training is his March Madness.
This time of year feels like baseball is supposed to be ramping up. This is, contrary to the NCAA tournament, this is our month to prepare.
And prepare they are. Coming up on Local 4 News at 4, 5, and 6, we talk to the future in Spencer Torkelson and Riley Green and the veterans as they prepare for opening day. In Lakeland, Jamie Edmonds, Local 4.
All righty, Jamie, thank you so much. So to come here at noon, the Federal Reserve is likely to raise interest rates. We're going to break down what that all means for you. And if you're just joining us here at noon, we are following breaking news out of Livingston County this afternoon. State police are investigating a reported gas explosion, and all lanes of US 23 and Old US 23 just north of Center Road are shut down while crews are doing their work. Troopers say that it appears to be a natural gas pipeline that exploded. Consumers Energy not confirming that just yet. They're calling it a potential line break, but so far there are no reports of any injuries. We'll be right back.